So the reason I want to expat in Colombia, or for me personally, live there, I think it's mostly about just living a more meaningful life, I suppose.
Well, I loved it. I had a wonderful, wonderful time for 4 years.
For me, I fell in love with like the freshness of everything. Like the food was fresh, the people were fresh, everything was just, would you say it was a vibe?
Hi everybody and welcome back to How to Expat. My name is Tasha and this is Sam.
Hi.
And in today's video, it's less about us and our story and how life is for us here in Colombia, but it's about you. I actually asked you on Patreon and I asked you here on YouTube if you would like to share your story, people that are actually living here and people that are abroad but actually considering moving to Colombia. So in this video it's gonna be all about our subscribers, what they have to say, why they moved to Colombia or why they want to move to Colombia. They will introduce themselves, they will talk about the cities they consider living in, and they will talk about why Colombia in general. What does Colombia offer that their home country or other countries can't offer them? So stay tuned and enjoy.
Hi, my name is Jaclyn and I'm an American.
My name is Steven and I'm also an American.
And this is why we want to move to Colombia.
My name's Julian. I come from England originally. I have lived in Japan, in Yokohama for the last 20 years.
What's up? My name is Tahlon. I live in the city of Medellin, Colombia. Well, technically I live in Bello, which is right outside Medellin, a suburb on the north side of Medellin. I've been living in Medellin since July of 2019. So far, I absolutely love living here.
Good morning, my name is Branin. I'm from the United States.
My name is Alejandro and I'm Colombian American.
Hey there, my name's Eric. I'm from Sydney, Australia.
Hi there, my name is Chrissy. I live in North Carolina in the United States.
Me at the moment, I think would have to be Manizales. For starters, I have a friend who lives there, so that's always a good start. But also, I think it's quite a naturally beautiful area of Colombia. Also, it's a smaller city, and so I think, you know, the pace of life is a little bit slower.
So when I move to Colombia, I actually want to travel the country, and so I want to go to different cities. But I think I would spend most of my time between the major cities like Barranquilla, Medellin, Cali, and Bogota.
We would be moving to Yopal, Casanare. We are currently buying a house in Casanare, and with the expectation of probably moving there in about 10 or 15 years.
I think because we've only been to Cartagena, like that's where we're thinking about settling. But I know myself, I've heard really great things about Santa Marta, and then just other cities in general. Like we've only been to Cartagena, so that's where we want to go. But we're really open. I think we just need to visit a couple more times.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind settling in Cartagena. Of course, the beach is close by and you can get to it very easily. But I, after watching all of your guys' videos, would love to see what Medellin is all about. I feel like there's a lot of similarities between what's in Medellin and what's in Washington, D.C. So there's also, again, that kind of homey feel. So I would love to see what Medellin has to offer.
Why would I consider expatting to Colombia? Well, I loved it. I had a wonderful, wonderful time for 4 years. Great memories, even though those were single days in my 30s.
I've been to many places around the world, many places in Latin America, but every time I came to Colombia, I kept saying, I could live here, I could live here. You know, this is something I never felt in all the other places I've been to, like, oh, I can see myself living here. But every time I came to Colombia, I always said I could see myself living here. Until the point where prior to moving here, the last trip I had, I said, okay, I have to make a plan and move here.
The reason I want to go live in Colombia is because since I grew up in America, I feel like I never really got a chance to learn and understand everything there is about my culture. And so I want to move back over there and experience everything that I've missed out on.
So the reason I want to expat in Colombia, or for me personally, live there, I think it's mostly about just living a more meaningful life, I suppose, as airy-fairy as that sounds. Here in Australia, it's quite easy to get sidetracked by material things, career-related things, money-related things, as the core drivers of your life. I think moving to Colombia and being in an environment amongst people who value community so much and are really always looking out for each other, I think that's quite conducive to really realizing what really matters in life.
I've been researching the topic of living internationally and living abroad for quite a few years now. I think about 4 years, maybe even 5. And my sister has lived abroad quite extensively. And so I started researching the different countries, and usually the typical ones show up on the list, the ones that everybody's heard of, or particularly Americans retiring have heard of, like Panama, Ecuador. Now Costa Rica seems to have really moved up the list. But really, there were a lot of things about Colombia in particular that jumped out at me as a really great fit for my likes and preferences, and as a place to perhaps gain a dual citizenship and to have a cultural immersion experience, and a place where I feel could be quite exciting, quite fun, and a very, very interesting culture that's very appealing to me. I particularly like the location of Colombia as far as its proximity to the United States and as a jumping off point to travel to other places. But there are just really so many reasons about Colombia that are appealing. It's quite maybe too many to list.
I do understand, of course, that it would be a little bit cheaper than living in Japan or in England, which would be good, and especially the education costs of teaching my son in a very good school would be cheaper than many places overseas.
So the one thing that Colombia can offer me that no other country in this world can is the fact that I'm from there. And even though I grew up here in America, I'm still 100% Colombian. And so being in Colombia, that's the only country where I can feel right at home and connected to the people there.
So something that Colombia can offer that Australia can't, I think the most obvious thing to me would be a greater sense of community, and a supportive community at that too. From my experience, at least with Colombian friends I've known here, they've always been extremely welcoming. In many cases, I've found it easier to make friends with Colombia people than, people of my own country. And I think too, just like, even if you've never met someone, there is this kind of level of welcoming that you probably wouldn't get as much in Australia. Maybe on a civil level, but not really on a deeper level so much.
It's the weather. It's getting colder and colder and grayer every winter, and the winds are hitting, and it would be nice to go to a place that is seasonably warm, and I'm looking very much forward to it.
I think that Colombia is an emerging country, a country on the way up, a country going places, a country with a lot of potential. And I think there are some things going on in the United States that really trouble me and hurts my soul, and I'm very disenchanted with. But I mean, America's a great country, but I'm ready to try to go and do and try some other things. So
really, it was just like, for me, I fell in love with like the freshness of everything. Like the food was fresh, the people were fresh, everything was just would you say it was a vibe? Like we just really fell in love with everything, and it's something that and I don't know if it's just the area that we live in, but everyone was really genuine and humble, and it's something that, it's hard to find here. But for me, most importantly, was just like, the freshness of everything.
So for me, I would say that the three biggest things that I feel Colombia could offer that the U.S. couldn't. Number one is healthcare. That's big. Looking at some of the rankings online, you see where Colombia's healthcare ranks in opposed to where the U.S. is. It's a couple notches above. When we went, we had the COVID test. They came to our house to do it, which I don't know. To me, that seemed like something we couldn't get at home.
Yeah.
So that was amazing, and it just seems like there's an overall a quality of care that people take there that you don't really see here.
Can I cut you off and say
Sure.
something? And really, we noticed more about like preventative health care.
Yeah.
So that was something that I noticed and he noticed, and even just the way the whole COVID situation, the steps that were in place to mitigate the spread, we didn't have that here. So that was something that we both took notice to right away. And if it's like that for that, I mean, I can't imagine
what it would be for everything else.
Yeah.
Secondly, for me, and Jaclyn touched on this earlier, the vibes are very, very chill, very laid back. Again, it doesn't seem like people are in a rush to do anything. And maybe, we've traveled around a lot and we know what, I guess, Caribbean time or non-Western time is. In the Western world, if you got to be there at 1 o'clock, you need to be there at 12:50.
Yeah.
But there, 1 o'clock might mean 1:30 or 2 o'clock, which is, it might be annoying, but it's also great because you're not also always in a rush. But the vibe seems very chill and laid back. So that was another thing that was huge. And then, of course, for me, and maybe this is a guy thing, but value for money.
Oh yeah.
The exchange rate it's not even fair. When we came back, I honestly came back with way more money than I thought I would. And I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was just, I budgeted a certain amount and I came back with a lot more. So yeah, healthcare, vibes, and value for money for me, I don't think you can offer that here.
All right, thanks everybody for participating. It was really great to see the community come together so that we were able to put out this video. That was already it for this video. If you want to support the channel and the things that we do here, we have a Patreon channel where also a lot of the people in this video are part of, so we appreciate that of course as well. Other than that, if you want to see more videos about Colombia and how life is here, make sure to subscribe. See you in the next video.